We got myself, Todd, and Turtle here. Challengers approaching. Blade Runner 2049, the last Denis Villeneuve tournament, or last Denis Villeneuve pick in the tourney, and versus Silence, Martin Scorsese's Silence. And Todd, you're actually up first. Which of these two are you going to pick?
I really like Silence, but for me, this was Blade Runner 2049 for sure. I was really skeptical about that movie, and it blew me away and surpassed what I wanted. I love it. It's for me like the metric for modern sci-fi. I love it. So yeah, Blade Runner 2049.
I gotcha. And then Turtle, what is going to be your pick of these two?
I promise I don't hate Denis Villeneuve. I promise there are films of his that I love, but I think a lot of his films I kind of go by the strength of the script because his direction is great already, and for that I think the script for The Silence has a leg up.
Oh boy, I didn't want to pick this matchup. Let me think for a second and really ponder. The only thing I think I have Silence rated higher. Blade Runner 2049 came in a pretty deep year though. I remember that. This is tough. These are two very different movies. I love Blade Runner 2049. I love that, like Todd was mentioning, it's sort of the standard for amazing sci-fi. It let Denis, even though the film made no money, it let Denis make Dune afterwards, which is also probably going to make no money. I do love Blade Runner 2049. I think I need to revisit it again. I will say that. But as of right now, I am going to go the Short King himself, the Meatball Boy. You know him, you love him. Martin Scorsese's Silence is the pick. And no, man, Denis Villeneuve is already out. That is upsetting, but this is what y'all get for picking Sicario over Blade Runner. But that'll do it for that. Now we have the last one with me, Lindsay, and Jude. So, Jude, you're up first. Wait a minute. We actually let in one of these films. It's going to be Spike Jonze's Her. I don't even know who directed Startup. Let me check David Mackenzie, yeah. How could I forget? But yeah, no, Jude, you're up first. Which of these two are you going to pick?
This is a very interesting one because at one point I considered Her to be one of my favorite films. But I'm kind of liking Startup as the underdog in this tournament at the moment. So I think I'm going to go for Startup. Like, that is just such like a human and brutal film. And I'd really like to see this film go a long way. So I'm going to go for Startup.
Gotcha. Okay, so this is very difficult. And I really love one thing Jude said, because both of these movies, oddly enough, one in prison, one in the future talking to a robot. I think both of them focus heavily on what is our humanity. What do we mean as people? This is really difficult because I think I'm trying to do this as unbiased as possible. I've seen Startup more recently, so I think that's part of the problem because I do love Her. And I remember when I first watched Her, it blew my mind because I'd never seen sci-fi sort of used that way as not something like Blade Runner where it's just casual changes that sort of slightly change our realm of reality as we know it. So this is tough, but I think I'm still going to go Startup because I really love what that film does. But Lindsay, what would have been your pick?
I think I would have gone with Her, but I respect that Startup is still in because I love that movie. So I'm not mad about it.
Wow, nice. All right, so that settles everything besides the second two. All right, so sort of finishing out the round two tourney, we got Todd and Theo for the first time in round two. Sleepy went straight weepy. Past. Yeah, beepy. Went straight past the podcast recording, but they're here now. So here we go. Moonlight versus The Wind Rises. Todd, I will let you go first because you just watched The Wind Rises. What do you feel on this matchup?
I did just watch The Wind Rises. I very much enjoyed it. I think it's an incredibly solid film with great animation. But Moonlight is one of my favorite films of the decade. I just think it's amazing. I think it's beautiful. It got to me, and I'm a big fan of it. So I'm voting Moonlight.
Nice. And I definitely respect that. I'm not as high on Moonlight, but there is no denying like how much of a voice it has been for this generation and the 2010s films. But with that said, I'm actually gonna go with The Wind Rises, just because I feel like that film means a whole lot to Miyazaki's career. It was him just announcing like, "Yo, I still got it." And I just think me and Todd were talking about this briefly. Out of all the animated films that have come out, especially like anime films are known for being goofy. So even something like Your Name or Kimi no Nawa has like boob humor in it. So because of that, I don't think it's something that I could be like, hey, Best Picture committee, maybe watch this to nominate for Best Picture. Whereas I think The Wind Rises actually is very grand in its storytelling like that. So that's just why like I value that so highly. But it's gonna be tied. So Theo, you get the deciding vote. What you going here?
Oh, this is hard. I would agree with everything everyone said. I think The Wind Rises is a very significant movie in his au revoir. I think I got that pronounced correctly. And Moonlight, I think, is just, it just is a very, I feel like for better or for worse, mostly for better, but during the award ceremonies, possibly for worse, it became ingrained into like the cultural sphere. So it's very much part of like pop culture in a lot of ways. And this is really tough because I've kind of been an advocate for The Wind Rises, even against movies that I enjoy more, because I think it is very important. But I think this is the first matchup where I may finally end up siding with the other movie, in this case, Moonlight. Just because it is a case where I think Moonlight's significance may be greater than that of The Wind Rises.
Interesting.
So I will be picking Moonlight here. I still think The Wind Rises is very important, very significant. And if this was, say, Spirited Away, I think it would be much tougher because that one, I think, is really the most important film Ghibli's made. And this would be really difficult for me if that was the case.
All right, so for the final matchup in the second round, we have a different squad to represent the pick between Room and Long Day's Journey into Night. We got Hey, Lindsay, and Theo, but of course I am going to be representing Grayson as he's seen both of these films, and he is going to actually go with Long Day's Journey into Night. It's one of his favorite films, and it just works with him the best. And he says, Room is a stinky, wet, dinky dong. But Lindsay, what is going to be your pick after Grayson's Long Day's pick?
I'm picking Room, which is not a stinky movie. No, I really like Room. Actually, I think it's a really, really emotional movie about something that's just like truly like really painful. But I think it does it in a way that's not like, it doesn't feel gratuitous, it just feels really heartfelt with its messages. And I think it's really, really good, and Brie Larson's amazing. And so is Jacob Tremblay. Like, the performances are incredible. So, yeah, I'm going with Room. It really hit me.
Awesome. Theo, you get to break the tie. What pick are you going with?
Yeah, I know. It's I think I gotta go with Long Days. And I actually do think that Room is I totally understand its acclaim because I watched it like I figured it would kind of come to this where there's just not enough people to really pick for these weirder matchups. So I watched it and I was like, oh yeah, no, I definitely understand why people like this a lot. I'd always kind of eyed at how acclaimed it was, and I was just thinking like, man, what could this be to like garner such a high rating? And once I watched it, I was like, oh yeah, okay, I see. So I think like I think the tricky thing here is Room to me is like, oh, this is like a really, really great indie movie. And I think it's very impressive what it is. And if it was like a different movie that wasn't Long Days, I think that would be more difficult. I think that it is mostly the context of Long Days being, I think, like in a pretty critical step forward, or a pretty critical like entry into like foreign art house that makes it really compelling to me. In a similar sense of if it was like Room versus Get Out, I would be like, oh man, I think Get Out has like a cultural importance to it that makes it stand out to me. So for that reason, I'll be going Long Days.
Nice.
But
And then
yeah,
the upset pick keeps moving on.
yeah, we'll see how long it keeps standing at, because I don't know how in good conscience I can keep doing that. Do we know what it's up against next?
It is up against The Favorite next.
Oh shit! Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. But make sure to check out just the rest of round 3. We'll have that posted soon. We got some other tournaments that are sort of brewing and a bunch of other stuff. Thank you guys for checking this out. Bye.